3 Words by Anna Marie Darkholme. She has endured worse. At this point, Nebula is not even sure whether those words are true, but they're all she has to keep her going. Thanos has taken so much from her, but she will not give him the satisfaction of breaking her. Sooner or later, one of his soldiers will make a mistake, and she will free herself, and she will hunt down her father again. He will not escape her wrath a second time. Thoughts of vengeance help somewhat, but cannot fully block out the pain coursing through her systems. Strung out as she is, it will not be much longer before what little organic she retains start to fail. The prospect of losing more of herself to machinery chills her more than the looming threat of further pain. She will not let it show, however. She will not break. She will not. Her auditory sensors detect incoming footsteps. She tightens her jaw, prepares for whatever new torture Thanos has devised. It surely cannot be worse than what she's enduring. The complex interlocking parts that constitute the door to the room, cells she is being held in, click open, and what is left of Nebula's heart feels as though it hurtles to the floor. Gamora, her sister, steps forward. Her eyes widen on seeing Nebula, filling with such genuine concern and fear for her that Nebula wishes she could turn away. It's bad enough that her sister is seeing her at her weakest. To be confronted with a reminder of her feelings for her at the same time is too much. You will always be my sister. Nebula will admit to nobody, least of all herself, how much strength she has drawn from those words since they were uttered. She had thought she had forgotten how to feel anything except rage and hatred, but in the presence of Gamora, something stirs within her that she cannot name. It terrifies her, and yet at the same time, she yearns for it. When Gamora speaks, her voice is heavy, and with that same emotion Nebula cannot name. Nebula. She tries to respond, tries to force out some warning. All that comes out of her mouth are pained gasps, rasping breaths far too shallow. It's maybe for the best. Nebula is dying, in every sense of the word, to tell Gamora something. 3 words. 3 simple words is all it would take. She just doesn't know which 3. Her painfully torn mind oscillating between extremes. She thinks maybe she doesn't have to speak when Gamora reaches out to touch her shoulder. The contact is feather light, barely registering within her sensors. It's so unbearably gentle, unlike any touch Nebula has received, except maybe one. The memory of which Nebula is filed away in the deepest part of her brain, so deep even Thanos can never touch it, never taint it. Her body twitches against her will, rocking on her suspension. Gamora withdraws her hand, but doesn't fully return it to her side. She stays facing Nebula, but addresses someone else. Don't do this. It's only then that Nebula becomes aware of the other presence in the room. So caught up as she was by Gamora's arrival. For a heartbeat, anger flares within her at her carelessness, but it quickly deepens into dark hatred for the other presence. Thanos, her captor and torturer. The man she has sworn to kill. She feels a slight twinge of pride despite herself at his next words.
Some time ago, your sister snuck aboard this ship to kill me.
Please don't do this. Gamora's voice cuts in, begging. Nebula's heard her voice break in that way just once. Back on Ego when her sister realized the Terran Quill had been left behind. She doesn't know what to do with this, what to do with these emotions she never asked for. It seems she has finally succeeded in breaking Gamora. Of course, the universe would mock her, would make it so that it was through no design of her own, and at a time when she no longer wished to see her sister suffer. Thanos would pay for this, would suffer just a bit longer before she ended him for what he was doing to Gamora. As her thoughts turn back to him, she's aware his booming voice had continued.
She nearly succeeded, so I brought her here to talk.
He advances forward, and once again Nebula wishes she could talk, to spit out 1,000 curses at him. She sees him wave his accursed gauntlet, has but a moment to process what that means. Then her body is being pulled further apart, and the agony racking her goes from white-hot to utterly blinding, all-consuming. She can't even stifle the screams, the shrieks tinged with fear, because she honestly does not know if this time he plans to kill her. She can barely hear her sister's quiet plea, her words muffled by horror. Stop it. Stop it. She's not lucid enough to see what happens next, but through the supernovas of agony exploding in her heads, she catches the words, I swear to you on my life, I never found the Soul Stone. Abruptly, the pain returns to all-encompassing but manageable. Something's not right, though. An itching inside Nebula's head that fills her with dread. Against her will, pathways in the cybernetic half of her brain activate, project outwards as Thanos warps her body to his needs. Her privacy, her sense of self are ripped violently from her. The violation makes her shake with rage and self-hatred. A fairly recent memory plays out, recalling one of her last meetings with Gamora. The secrets her sister entrusted her with play out, and she feels like she has betrayed that trust. She cannot bear to look at her sister, fearing what she would find laid bare in her expression. Instead, she silently begs for it all to be over, for some miracle that she doesn't believe in to end this living hell. Thanos turns his attention from her, disregards her in favor of her sister, as he has always done. Nebula cannot find it in herself to be angry, though, not anymore. She's so tired. Tired of the pain, both physical and deeper. She hopes Gamora is stronger than her. As much as she hates to acknowledge it, her sister truly was always the better of them. At least that means she may yet be able to deny Thanos.
Where is the Soul Stone?
Thanos' words have a dread finality to them. Her sister's face twists in pain, pain Nebula had never seen before. Not even when her body was torn apart or beaten half to oblivion did Gamora's face betray such agony, such anguish. She looks close to giving in, close to breaking. Desperate, Nebula pushes through her agony, gazes directly at Gamora, and shakes her head. Even such a slight movement is nigh unbearable, but she has to let her sister know she must not give in. The gesture is cut short as Thanos shifts his hand once more, and the pain returns, worse than ever before. Nebula is no longer aware of anything, cannot even perceive her own screams. All that exists is the pain, surrounding her, closing in on her, choking her. Suddenly it stops, and Nebula is left shuddering. Her wet, broken gasps are disgustingly weak, but she cannot fight them. Gamora approaches her, and Nebula can tell that she has told Thanos what he needed to know. She closes her eyes, unable to bear the anger and disappointment her sister will surely have for her. She's taken by surprise when a soft hand gently shifts one of her faceplates back in place. The surprise deepens as the hand stays in place, caressing her cheek. She feels tears against her will break from her eyes, trickle down her face in time to her broken sobs. The hand does not move, does not flinch or recoil. Softly, painfully softly, her sister's voice whispers, "The stone is on Vormir." Thanos' voice shatters through the quiet.
Show me.
Nebula has time to open her eyes, take in her sister's face so close to hers. For a moment, everything stops. She takes in every detail of her sister's face, the markings that would have set her apart from other individuals had she grown up on Zinhobari. The single tear that has escaped her carefully crafted facade, a tear shed for her. But it is her eyes that Nebula commits to her memory. They glimmer with 1,000 unspoken words, with apologies and assurances and promises, and that one emotion, that one cursed emotion that has just cost the galaxy so much. Nebula knows with a hateful certainty that same cursed emotion shines in her own eyes back at her sister. The next second, Thanos waves his hand, and he and her sister are gone. Nebula wants to scream with frustration, but words are still beyond her shattered body. Even now that it's too late, she's unsure which 3 words she would have uttered to her sister. Don't give in. Kill me, please. I love you.